all those who engage with Shakespeare's life and works are, on one level, speculating. It is just that some do it more openly than others. There are plenty of critics who make their assumptions discreetly, hiding behind the screen of, say, a discussion of Shakespeare's literary influences. Did Shakespeare know the work of his fellow writer, Thomas Nashe? Shakespeare would probably have read Nashe's Unfortunate Traveller. Some believe that Moth, a character in Love's Labour's Lost, written around 1594, is based on Nashe. Nashe might even have been involved with Tamburlaine in 1587. Or what prompted Shakespeare to write the moment in A Midsummer Night's Dream when Oberon asks Puck if he remembers when he, Oberon, sat upon a promontory and heard a mermaid on a dolphin's back? Could this be an echo of a production at Kenilworth in 1575? Kenilworth is in Warwickshire. We are in the right county, and William is 11 years old, so he could have been there. The evidence is unstable. One eyewitness noted the dolphin, another remembers a mermaid, but neither record seeing a mermaid on a dolphin's back, but is nevertheless used to imagine scenarios rooted in Shakespeare's lived experience. Did Shakespeare's memory play tricks on him over the years, or did he embroider the event for his own artistic purposes? Or, more prosaically, did Shakespeare simply read about these famous events in one or both printed accounts and adapt them to his needs? This kind of thing is not a million miles away from the assumptions made by previous generations that the playwright could not have created characters of such depth unless he had experienced at least something similar to those characters. Thomas Carlyle, for one, saw a bit of Macbeth, Hamlet, and Coriolanus in William Shakespeare, the man. This might be too simplistic for us now, but we still perceive that Shakespeare is concerned with or preoccupied by some aspect of life, and slide into the assumption that the concern is rooted in lived experience. His particular sensitivity to ravaged landscapes of continental battlefields, for example, leads a critic to wonder whether Shakespeare went to be a soldier in France. Others, including the hugely popular Stephen Greenblatt, openly ask us to use our imaginations because what matters is not the degree of evidence, but rather the imaginative life that the incident has. This comes very close to saying what matters is not the true story, but a good story, a stance complicated by the moments when Greenblatt does assert his own truths about Shakespeare. But it is at least honest, recognizing that each of our Shakespeares will be different, dependent on our imaginations. The challenge remains to read a consistent Shakespeare from his deeply inconsistent drama. Reading from the plays to the life, some argue that Shakespeare was aware of his own aging from, say, 1599, and is exploring this new awareness in As You Like It. But which experience of aging is William's? Consider Jaques and Touchstone, both additions to Shakespeare's source material. Jaques constructs an existential stage play world in which all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players, with life viewed as a series of declining stages to an old age, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. But Touchstone has a parallel speech on the 7 degrees of quarreling, more expansive, more verbally witty, and ultimately more optimistic.